All right. So I'm going to try this again. And of course, I got my YouTube open here. All right. So I think I'm still live here. So I'm just going to draw a cul-de-sac again, guys, just so we can, whatever. Maybe this is a cross street. And these are houses here, guys, whatever, right? This is just a typical neighborhood. These little ugly squares are houses. So that was probably too big of an intersection, too far away. So one of the things that I do, and if we go back to what I previously shared here, guys, I think I'm only sharing my whiteboard. It's lame. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm only sharing the whiteboard. That's okay. So what I like to do on a surveillance, especially if it's in a cul-de-sac, and again, if you guys watched the previous video, I discussed briefly about how, this all starts with your preliminary investigation. So what I usually do is I do a drive-by, and what I prefer to do is to oh, you gotta be kidding me here, videotape. So if this is my house, if this is the house that I'm focused on, I'll videotape just the property real quick, so I don't have to stop in front of it and write things down. So usually I'm grabbing plates with that video, and then I'm out of there. It was just a quick jaunt, and I'm out. And hopefully it didn't seem very suspicious. Now, a lot of folks, what they'll do is like I said earlier in the last video, they'll like to put themselves right here on the street, or something around here, right from here to here. And if this is the subject's house, okay, all day long, they're going to see a new vehicle right in their line of sight that they'd never noticed before in the neighborhood. And of course, depending on what the situation's like here with all these houses, they're going to be wondering what the hell's going on here too, especially if it doesn't fit in, right? Like if it just, you can't organically fit in. Now, sometimes you can go, you can go to cases like, I don't know, I remember in Los Angeles, like I could pretty much park anywhere in Los Angeles and nobody was really tripping. And that was just happened to be the neighborhood that I was in, but it was a busy neighborhood. So, all kinds of cars, all kinds of new cars, not a big deal. So that's one thing. This is why I don't like to be here, because of these issues. Everybody's just staring at a new car. And if they leave, now that same car that's been sitting there is going to be following them out. And that's no bueno. That's not going to be conducive for you guys as you're doing surveillance. So I like to be forgettable. And for me, I'll look for angles. And it doesn't always work out this way, but it's just things to keep in mind, right? I know that if I park here, I can see the intersection and I'm not staring at it. Again, this is all situational. All depends on where everybody's at, right? What the house looks like and the neighborhood. And this is something you're going to get a feel for over time. So, that's one option. Or I might just sit way down here. So if for any reason, but these are houses, by the way, if for any reason folks come out and they're like, hey, what are you doing? They're over here wondering what I'm doing here. No big deal. I can, if I'm far enough away and I feel comfortable, I'll say, hey, you know what? Sorry to, I'm concerned. I'm a private investigator working in the area. I'm here to serve paper. I'll make up something, right? Sometimes, it's just, for me, it was always better just to go, hey, and I always set myself up for that success. Hey, I'm a private investigator working in the area. I might be out here for a few days, and I might be coming and going. just to let you know. So even if they call the police and the police show up, no big deal. This is what I'm worried about. Do they see me? Or, um, and maybe these folks. I'm just trying to be further enough away down that I'm not. If anything does go wrong, it doesn't ruin my whole day. And here's the thing: I want to. If it's a 3-day surveillance, I want to last for 3 days. I don't want to come out here and park right in front because whatever. If I'm working for a company, they're like, oh, you gotta have a view. Like I'm not ruining my whole day for a view that's going to ruin the rest of the time for 5 seconds of video. I'm looking for the long haul, right? I'm looking for, um, unless, like we had talked about earlier, unless something happens, that guy's working in his yard or something, then I'll get aggressive and I'll come here and I'll sit there as long as I can and videotape what's happening right there. So I know there's going to be a lot of pressure, especially when you're working for other companies, to have that view. And I can assure you, you're going to get great video. Generally speaking, if everything goes like it should, right? You're going to get great video as they leave, and you get them to a location, and then that's where the fun gets to happen. Okay, so we've talked about angles. Here, the angle here, down here. I avoid this area at all cost. Unless there's something I have to see, or I don't have enough information and I need to get, I need to see more. Like I don't have a vehicle for them. Or a person. I don't, I'm missing information. So I've got to be a little more aggressive. And it might, maybe not right away. Maybe maybe the first day I'm filling things out. Maybe I shoot a phone call in the house. That doesn't work out. Maybe, maybe I cut it off. I'm trying to avoid being noticed in the neighborhood as much as possible. And so be comfortable with sitting back a little bit and playing it out. And if it's a 3-day surveillance, let it play out a little bit. Let's see what's happening first before we go and blow it, getting overly aggressive on a point, right here or right here. It's just too aggressive. Be a little passive a little bit until you kind of fill it out. Now, this doesn't give you carte blanche to sit on the route of departure and phone it in, right? We still want to be active. Now, I'll probably end up doing, just to make sure that I haven't missed anything, because sometimes that happens. And you've got to be ready too. If there's no cars in the driveway, let's say this is their driveway, there's no cars, that might change things a little bit. Maybe I do have to be aggressive until that garage door opens and I can see what's in there and what's coming and going. These are just all different considerations with your surveillance. And then once you figure out what's happening, it even makes it even easier to go back. Like, let's say you were aggressive. The garage door opens, wife takes the kids to school. You see that there's 2 cars in there. Oops, those are the 2 registered cars that I was looking for. I didn't see them earlier. Great. Now I don't have to be overly aggressive. I can sit back a little bit and wait for the second car to leave, or the wife to get back, or something, something else to happen. So anyways, guys, that's kind of like my quick tips on that. A lot of it begins with the preliminary surveillance. And the more information you have, the better you are going to be prepared going into it. And again, the more information you have, the less you have to do. A lot of the times early on in investigations, back in the day when we didn't have all the resource that we do now, it was like, all the same stuff. I would park here 4 hours in. If I didn't have a phone number or something like that, I would be pre-texting all these houses, and sometimes even this one, depending on the information that I got. I tried to avoid this one because things could go to crap. Usually I would go pre-text this house, and I'll be darned, they would leave right after, and now I've got to fall into a store, and I was just at their door. So this is why sometimes I would even rather work a 4-hour period, break, and then come back and to see if there's any activity, rather than going to pre-text the house, because you want to insert yourself into the community as little as possible. You want to be invisible. And if you're out there walking around, knocking on doors, that's not invisible. And somebody is watching and you don't know who they are. And I've shared stories to where you guys know that we were doing a surveillance on one house, and and we were at a park. We were both parked at a park, but the next door neighbor was a chief of police for that area, and or not chief, maybe it's like some, I don't know, sergeant or something. I don't know the ranks of the police, but anyways, the two people were communicating behind the house. They didn't have any fences. They were talking to each other. We didn't know that. Next thing you know, there's cops rolling up, and, now the whole thing's blown, right? Because we were overly aggressive unnecessarily. So, anyways, I wanted to try this out. This is the Zoom whiteboard, which actually seems to be working a little bit better. Hope you got a little bit of value from this. If you have any questions, or hypotheticals you want to talk about, definitely just message me, and maybe I'll do another little whiteboard here. I'm having kind of fun drawing on here. So, all right, guys, thank you for checking it out. And let me see if I can end this.